right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. We always like to get into those topics that maybe make some folks a little uncomfortable,
Yeah, definitely.
but they're the important ones, right?
Hmm.
And we want to make sure that everybody listening is well equipped with knowledge because knowledge is power, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
today we're talking about something that I think can be really stressful for people, and that's interacting with the police.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that you never really know what to expect.
Exactly. And you see all these crazy headlines, see people getting in trouble and, you
Yeah, see
know,
those viral videos and stuff.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how do I avoid a situation like that?
Yeah, you don't want to end up on the wrong side of a viral video, that's for sure.
Exactly. And so we're gonna try to equip you with some practical information.
Some real world stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna help you feel more confident and informed
Right.
if you're ever in a situation where you're interacting with law enforcement.
Yeah, and just understanding kind of what to expect and what your rights are.
Exactly. And the specific area we're gonna focus on today is something that you might have heard of before. It's police trick questions or these kind of like legal traps
Yeah, you've heard of those.
that can trip people up. And our source material is a video from the Legal Strategist channel on YouTube.
Oh, I've seen that channel.
Yeah, it's called Police Trick Questions Exposed. Don't fall for these legal traps.
Sounds pretty intense.
It's a really interesting video, and it covers a few different areas. It talks about these trick questions, but it also gets into some lesser known legal rights,
Oh,
which we're not really going to get into today, but it's interesting stuff.
right, right.
And then it even mentions some like bizarre laws that I had no idea existed.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like in some states, it's illegal to I don't know, wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a law.
I know.
I mean, I guess it makes sense in a way.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to get into all of that today. We're really going to zero in on those specific inquiries, those trick questions.
Right, the bread and butter.
Yeah, and give you guys some practical advice on how you might respond to them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm interested to hear this.
All right, so let's jump right in. The first one, you're driving along, you see those flashing lights in your rearview mirror, your heart starts to race a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You pull over, and the officer comes up to your window and asks, "Do you know why I pulled you over?"
Oh, yeah, I've gotten that one.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty straightforward question, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think so.
But the video actually highlights this as a potential trap.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, because any answer you give could be construed as an admission of guilt.
Oh, I see.
Like, for example, let's say you say, "Oh, was it the broken taillight?"
Right.
But maybe they pulled you over for something else entirely, like speeding or something.
Oh, so you're basically giving them a reason when they might not have had one.
Exactly. Or you might be highlighting something that they weren't even focused on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what's the best way to respond in this situation?
Well, according to the video, the best thing to say is, "I'm not sure, officer, why."
Simple as that.
Yeah, it puts the ball in their court. You're not volunteering any information, and you're making them state their reason for the stop.
Right. It's like you're saying, "Okay, I'm listening. Tell me what's going on."
Exactly, and then you can go from there.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's move on to another one. This one feels a little bit more pointed. If you have nothing to hide, you won't mind if I search.
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, this one's like designed to make you feel pressured.
Like you're automatically guilty if you say no.
Exactly. It plays on our natural instinct to want to appear cooperative and innocent.
Right, nobody wants to seem suspicious.
But here's the thing. What they're really trying to do is get you to waive your Fourth Amendment rights.
Oh yeah, the whole unreasonable search and seizure thing.
Exactly. And the Fourth Amendment is there to protect you. So if you consent to a search, just because they said that you're essentially giving up those protections, even if they didn't have a legal basis to search in the first place.
So what should you do instead?
The video recommends being direct and saying, "I do not consent to any searches."
Okay, so you're just straight up saying no.
Yeah. And the video makes a really important point here. If law enforcement had what they call probable cause, meaning they have a reasonable belief that a crime has been committed or that there's evidence of a crime, they wouldn't be asking for your permission. They'd be telling you they're going to search.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So if they're asking, it's a good sign that they might not have that probable cause.
So saying no is actually the best way to protect yourself.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the digital age. Our phones these days are like extensions of our brains.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm glued to mine.
So what happens when an officer asks, "Can I take a quick look at your phone?"
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
It can be tricky, right? Because our phones contain so much personal information.
Yeah, everything's on there.
And just like with physical searches, voluntarily handing over your phone can have serious implications for your privacy.
You're basically giving them access to your entire life.
Exactly. And by giving consent, you could be waiving their need to obtain a warrant, which is a much higher legal bar they'd have to clear to get access to your phone.
Yeah, warrant's not easy to get.
Right, so that quick look could turn into them seeing all sorts of private information, messages, photos, location data, all without proper legal authorization.
So what should you say if they ask to see your phone?
The video recommends using a similar response to the search question. You say, I do not consent to a search of my device.
Okay, so it's the same principle. You're asserting your right to privacy.
Exactly, and you're making it clear that you understand the implications of handing over your phone.
Right, because it's not just a quick look. It's a huge invasion of privacy.
All right, let's move on to another common tactic. This one sounds almost friendly. Just be honest, and I'll go easy on you.
That's a tough one, because it sounds like they're trying to help.
Yeah, it appeals to that part of us that wants to believe that honesty is the best policy.
Right, and everyone wants to get off easy.
But the reality is, police officers generally don't have the authority to make promises of leniency or to strike deals.
Oh, really?
That power usually lies with the prosecuting attorneys.
So even if you tell them everything, there's no guarantee that it'll actually help you.
Exactly, and you could end up incriminating yourself based on a false promise.
So what's the best course of action in that situation?
The video strongly recommends invoking your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and to request a lawyer.
Right, you have the right to an attorney.
Exactly. And this ensures that you have legal counsel before you say anything that could potentially be used against you.
That's a good reminder, because in the heat of the moment, you might feel pressured to say something you'll regret later.
Absolutely. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Here's a question that seems totally harmless. Where are you coming from and where are you going?
It sounds like they're just making conversations.
All right, it's very casual. But according to the video, this type of question can be used to look for inconsistencies in your answers or to gather details about your movements that might give them a reason to investigate further.
Oh, so it's not as innocent as it sounds.
Even a small discrepancy in your story could raise their suspicion.
So it's best to just not answer at all.
Well, the video suggests a polite but firm response. I'd rather not discuss my day, officer.
Okay, so you're acknowledging their question but not giving them any information.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's move on to another one that's common during traffic stops. Have you been drinking tonight?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, and even admitting to having just one drink can raise suspicion of driving under the influence, whether or not you're actually impaired.
Right, because they're looking for any reason to investigate.
Exactly, and it gives them a basis to ask more probing questions or even request field sobriety tests.
So even if you're under the legal limit, it's best to just say no.
Well, the suggested response in the video is I prefer not to answer that.
Okay, so again, you're not confirming or denying anything.
Exactly. You're not giving them any ammunition to use against you.
Makes sense.
All right, here's a situation that a lot of drivers have probably encountered. Do you mind stepping out of the vehicle?
Yeah, I've had that happen before.
And the video actually points out an important distinction here during a lawful traffic stop. If an officer asks you to step out of your vehicle, you're generally expected to comply.
Oh, so you have to do it.
Yeah, but here's the key. Complying with that request doesn't automatically mean you're being detained or that your freedom to leave has been revoked.
Oh, so you can step out, but you're not necessarily under arrest.
Exactly. So what the video recommends is that after you step out of the vehicle, you ask, am I being detained or am I free to go?
Oh, that's a good question to ask.
Yeah, it establishes the nature of the interaction right then and there.
So if they say you're detained, your rights come into play.
Exactly. And if they say you're free to go, then you should be allowed to leave.
Okay, good to know.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about situations outside of a vehicle. What happens if an officer asks for your ID? Can you provide your ID?
That's an interesting one because I know you need it for driving.
Right. But outside of operating a vehicle, the rules can be a little different, generally speaking. You're not always legally required to present identification unless there's reasonable suspicion that you've committed, are committing, or are about to commit a crime.
Oh, so it depends on the situation.
Exactly. And the laws regarding this can vary from state to state.
So what should you do if an officer asks for your ID and you're not sure if you have to show it?
The video suggests asking, am I legally required to show it?
Okay, so you're making them explain why they're asking.
Exactly. And it also highlights the importance of knowing the specific laws in your own state.
Right, because what's legal in one state might not be illegal in another.
Okay, here's another seemingly casual question that can be a trap.
Yeah.
do you live around here?
Oh, I can see how that could be tricky.
Yeah, they're basically trying to assess